Hello everybody, Tartan Rooster here, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk a little bit today about Battlefield Portal and its rumoured inclusion in the new Battlefield game. Battlefield Portal was included as part of Battlefield 2042's launch, but it never really had the opportunity to thrive. I wanted to talk about some of the problems that Portal faced and some possible solutions for the future. If you're enjoying watching along, give me a like and let me know if you have any thoughts in the comments below as well. I'd be keen to have a bit more of a discussion about it. It's a mode I'd love to see succeed and be part of the new game. So let's get into it today. The farming servers that you see all over Battlefield Portal, especially in the early days before any patches were made to XP in Portal, they inherently cause a problem due to the way that XP works, and the things that DICE did to try and prevent these servers did not ultimately solve the issue. You will still find servers in Portal that are running bot XP farming servers. These bot XP farming servers cause a lot of problems because one of the things that they do is they create an environment of unfair gameplay, and that is, say you don't have a lot of time to play games, you've only got an hour or so to play games, you want to jump in Battlefield and you want to play Conquest for an hour. You might find that if a new gun has just released, that you're going against players that have got this gun completely leveled up. Or even at launch, you might be dealing with players that have way more unlocks than you that you just can't compete with, and you're not really sure what the problem is. Take that 1 hour player and convert them into someone that spends an hour sitting farming their weapons and an hour playing the actual game. Playing the game before you play the game isn't fun. Inherently, I don't think it is a good thing. But the other side of this argument is, why should players that want to play bot servers or against AI be punished? The issue here is that there needs to be some sort of balance, or entirely remove the idea of PvE, which seems a bit harsh. I think having a cap perhaps on the XP you can earn from Portal matches without other players in it could be capped. Maybe include further prerequisites. For example, if your server has less than X amount of players, then the XP will be diminished so that boosting can't occur, or maybe it will occur less. More importantly is maybe having a team that looks after Portal. Now, there are multiple development studios involved in the development of the new game. Could one of those studios perhaps look after Portal? Have someone that can maybe look and actually, if they see servers that are breaching guidelines or that are farming servers rather than experienced servers, if that makes sense, have them be banned or warned or something happen. I think one of the things that really happened with Battlefield Portal in 2042 is that it was a great feature. It has this website functionality. It allows you to play the game how you want. It allows you to create custom modes, custom maps, create servers. But it just wasn't supported. It just sort of came out and was there and was a feature that was never really touched again by the development team. Except now we're starting to see some stuff that was added to Portal being added to the main game, which almost feels like the reverse of what should be happening with this. I think part of the problem is that the dev team at the start of 2042's life cycle had to scramble for a bit of damage control in general. They had to get the game to run better, they had to fix maps, they had to add content, as these were the key pillars of the problems with Battlefield 2042 at launch. If there was a team that was dedicated to looking at Portal more often, then perhaps we could see more content from more games being added into Portal and watching players experiment. The problem with Portal as well is that it was the only way that you could actually rent a server. There's no community servers that you actually see. There's no population in it because it's not pushed to the forefront anymore. It's hidden away in one of the many horizontal menus that are on the main screen for Battlefield. It's a few featured modes every week, but if the game was inherently built around a server browser, the players that are playing the game would naturally see those servers and join them and maybe say, oh, this server's running a hardcore version of Caspian Border and it's Battlefield 2042 versus Battlefield 1942, and that was the kind of thing that they teased when they were initially pitching Portal to the community. So I think having Portal almost not be called Portal but be included in some sort of server browser that you could perhaps have a look at would be kind of interesting. I would like to be able to edit servers on a website. I think that's a good thing. I think they need to introduce perhaps more functionality, give us a basic map editor. In my head I've got something like the Forge mode that you can get in Halo, where you can basically go on maps that have been pre-made and then you can move some objects around and create new modes around that. There's a lot more freedom in something like Forge than there was in Portal, and Portal almost inherently was handcuffed by the game modes that existed in the Battlefield universe to give those players some familiarity, perhaps. It was to keep things a bit more curated, but we ended up seeing the XP servers and all sorts of weird stuff happen because of that. And, you know, even content creators were sitting to push videos on new guns. They were sitting in these bot lobbies and just holding the trigger. I think the authentic experience and the challenge of going for a weapon, and the same thing happens in Call of Duty, but having a weapon that has no attachments and no abilities, and then getting to know the weapon, unlocking things, it really helps. In Call of Duty you see that as well. People speed run to get to the attachments that they want for Warzone, and you know, almost the idea of progression becomes a grind that it doesn't need to. It should be players getting to know weapons and mechanics and really connecting with the game, and that's how you give players unique experiences, and that's how you give them something to work towards and strive towards, and isn't, you know, this easy XP bot farm where you sit and lie down and hold mouse 1. It's just not quite the same. I think having Portal be something you can use more like a map editor also could introduce the idea of lots of new players coming to the game, as it opens up avenues to create more unique experiences that could be successful enough that EA and DICE could do what 343, now Halo Studios, have done with a lot of their modes, is that they've taken some really cool community modes that were in Forge and put them in Portal, in the main game. And I think with Battlefield we could see more of that. We've seen little bits, again, we get those little modes of the week, but honestly a lot of them are fairly uninspired and not very interesting, which is a shame, because there are people that probably have put a lot more effort in. For a while there was a really big Battlefield 3 hardcore server that was really pushing the boundaries of Battlefield 3 and seeing how, you know, people responded to that nostalgia of the previous games. I think one of the other things that could perhaps help Portal is to make it a free-to-play separate element. Battlefield Portal as a game could exist in its own right. It could bring in more players into the franchise that might play it, and they might decide they want to experience the main game. Having it free to play means that you've got an entrance for a lot of players to maybe say, oh, this is this cool Battlefield Portal mode where I can play all of the old Battlefields for free. I mean, if you look at old Battlefields, you can get them for free on Game Pass. They're about £2 in Steam when the sales are on, so I don't think there's going to be a loss of money there. I think giving players access to maybe all of the games in Portal, curating the modes that you pick, curating the weapons, so you're not just trying to develop 600 games at once. Take what works that already exists in those games and put them across into some sort of central Battlefield Portal branded thing. And I think the same can be said, we've heard a lot about rumours to do with Battle Royale perhaps coming to the new Battlefield. Make that free and separate. Call of Duty have already done this. There's no harm in Battlefield doing it, and Call of Duty have stayed afloat due to, I guess, maybe microtransactions and things like that in Warzone, as well as their constant release of mainline titles. If there is going to be this central hub, perhaps, where you've got, I mean, I'm almost saying what Call of Duty do, but if you've got Battle Royale, Portal, main game, don't make it confusing. Look at Call of Duty's interfaces. It is a nightmare. So if they are going to go down this route, and I think they should, because it's great to bring free-to-play elements into the game, or perhaps have new players come that way, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it could be great to see. I would be really keen to see Portal get another chance. It doesn't hurt the game or the franchise, but it needs to be done properly and with its own team. As EA and DICE have multiple studios working on the next game, there's no reason that one of these teams couldn't maybe take ownership and overall control for Portal. Yes, EA are still probably going to push for everything to be paid, but they have had success with games like Apex, which is free and has optional microtransactions, and that's how it makes its money, and battle passes and things like that. I think that's the thing that Portal needs to do, maybe have optional skins if EA is going to push them for monetization of the feature, but keep it separate. Build a decent central platform that players can load to choose what they want to play, and let them play it, make it easy. And I suppose the issues you have there is you don't want to repeat the mistakes of Call of Duty, you don't want the file sizes to be ridiculous, you don't want it to be complicated on its own game and adventure to try and figure out how to install a game. I mean, look at current Warzone. Warzone came back with Verdansk. When you go to install that game, the Warzone it gives you is out of date. You have to actually select the correct version. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So I think to succeed, Portal needs to have a lot of content, a map editor, a dedicated team, a solution or compromise for XP and bot farming, and for it to be free and possibly separate from the mainline title. There are pros and cons. As I say, if you are going to make things separate but bunch them together in the quote-unquote Battlefield universe that they keep talking about that we still haven't heard anything about, then make sure that your central hub is easy to use and that people don't have to install 1,000 things. I think that's where a lot of the problems are. The other way to look at this is that you could put Portal in the main game, but have it so the servers are just integrated with the server browser, so you don't notice or you don't have to select a different mode, and God let there be a server browser, but so that you don't have to then faff around, click on the right menu to get into the mode to then see the servers that are active for the mode. Instead, you just go in a server browser that has quite clear Portal, not Portal games, has them all mixed in so that you can see them all together and then select from there. I do think that anything beyond central game, that is Conquest, Breakthrough, Operations, Rush, it might need to be a separate thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm very curious to see how Battlefield handles Portal if it comes back into the franchise again. There's a lot of potential in that, especially if you take a lot from older games and include as much content as possible and watch what the community can do and support it, add new things, promote the mode. Now, I've waffled on for far too long here, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed yourself, give me a like, subscribe if you want to see more from me. I'll catch you guys in the next video.